Hey guys, not 100% sure if this is working because I've never actually done YouTube live directly like this before. Um, but I just figured, I always do this morning analysis myself anyway, and sometimes don't have time to record it. So I figured might as well just kind of go live here and see. Hey, look, that says I'm live. So I guess we're working. Okay. So just looking at the S&P 500, this is going to be a little bit disorganized. This is literally just kind of what I do for myself, and I'm just going to be going through it sort of publicly. So what I like to do starting the day, I like to zoom out. I'm going to turn off my volume profile. We'll turn that back on later. And kind of look at what we're seeing. So this is this little bit of a range from this low down here up to this high, and then we've kind of just been chopping sideways since then. So for me personally, I'm big picture bullish on S&P as long as we're basically within this or above this bottom part of this range here. So these little moves down didn't bother me. I actually I was buying pretty heavily down here on these dips with room to scale in if we kept coming down. So we seem to be recovering. We kind of popped out above. I'm going to just hide this for a minute to make things a little bit easier for those who aren't used to looking at all this. So then we've got, as we came down here, we formed this lower low and then lower high. And so that became the sort of basis now for this swing that we're in, where all this action happened within this swing, and then we popped out above, but haven't really made like a convincing argument that we're going to break above yet, although I was actually expecting possibly a bullish reversal yesterday, and I'll show you how I played the market yesterday because of that, because I was seeing us popping up here, and then we had been coming down and sort of popping down, and I was looking for bullish reversals, and I caught a really nice trade off the bottom here yesterday off the 1 minute chart. And that looks to be now more of the big push up that I was expecting yesterday. It looks like we might be starting today. We'll see kind of how that ends up. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's go to 1 hour and we can see a little bit more. So again, as we're in this big swing, and then this teal one here is actually from this low to this high. So that's the kind of range that I painted out here. And then we, again, came up to make this new high. So again, we had this high and low. I'm just marking out the swings with these ranges. That's really all I'm doing. And if you go to my website, dpmtrades.com, I have a little course that shows like why and how I do that, but that's not super important right now. Really all we care about now is get an idea of what we expect the market to do today. And what I'm looking at here is, there was a lot of trading in this area, and we pushed above it. And now we're kind of forming this new base. So what we want to see is, do enough people kind of agree that this is a good price now? And it seems to be the case. Every time we've come down, prices kind of come back up to the mean. And I'll show you in the volume profile what that looks like too. And so what we expect now is, out of this sort of range that we're in here, can we move this? Can we push up out of it, basically? So we have a high here and a low here, and these are the DPM control candles, so the candle coloring might look different than it does on your charts. All the control candles do is change the way the candles paint. So otherwise, the highs and lows and closes are all the same. So all this price action is really just within this retracement swing. So see, we had this bull swing up, and then this is just a retracement of that. So again, as long as we're above this low right here, then we don't really care how far this retraces down. We're still expecting it to continue bullish as long as we're above this low, because this was our bullish swing up, and this is just a retracement swing as far as we can see now. And you can see that also by the amount of time it took. I mean, if we look at, from here to here, right, this was 32 bars, 1 day and 9 hours, right? And then if we look at from here to here, right, we haven't even come down half of that, and it's taking 2 days and 7 hours to not even retrace half. So the momentum is clearly still to the upside. And now we're getting this nice push up. So, see, the 15 is a little choppy looking. Let's take a look at the 30. It's a little better. Not great, but a little better. So again, we've just been sideways. That's all. We've just been sideways, and we just want to see if we can push out of this. Now, this is where I think looking at the volume profile becomes interesting, because we can see. I like to use the visual range profile because I can always zoom in and out. If I want to just see, today's, I can just go from the close yesterday and see what today's volume is. And from the close, most of the volume's been down here. There's been a lot of action down here, and we're starting to push up. So what we want to start to see is, on this shorter time frame, do we start to build more volume up here to hold the price? Otherwise, price is going to want to be attracted down. But if we look at the bigger picture, bring in some of that higher volume from yesterday, we see that actually the point of control is up here. This is very low volume overnight trading, so I'm not super concerned about that. So we see actually from yesterday around the close, our value area was, roughly here to here. And we kind of have been trading below that. So if anything overnight, I would have been looking for long opportunities to take it back up to the value area, or the value area to the point of control, because that often acts like a magnet. So what do we see now? We see volume building, kind of right along here. Are we going to get stuck there? I don't know. Now this is where things could get interesting, because notice that, especially if we go on like a shorter time frame, right? If we go just like the past 2 days, for instance, once you start getting above some of this messy stuff, there's not a lot of trading that has taken place over the past few days. And when that happens, and that's represented also by, you see how this just huge candle here, that whenever you get these big candles, there's often very light volume in the body there. So if we remove this trading before it, we see even with that candle, there's very little volume here. And this kind of cut up through it and tested what would be this supply area, basically right here. So we can see how price came up and tested that and got rejected, because as we zoom out, we do see that, there's not a lot of volume there, but we want to wonder if we're going to start to build volume up there. That's what we want to be aware of. As we go out further, we see there's more volume up here at these highs. A lot of sellers came in and started to push price down. That's where that volume came from. So really, we've got this sort of low volume node up at the top of this white channel. So that's kind of representing what that channel is. And what's going to often happen there is those low volume nodes are going to act as rejections. But if we break out past that, then this is going to start to act as our magnet, this higher volume area here. So that's kind of what the volume profile is telling us right now. Right now, over the last few days, and really yesterday, I was mostly looking at, you can see like this was, if we zoom out here, you see how we had this high volume here. This was our point of control. There was a lot of trading that took place here, and then we made this high. And when we broke out above it and started to retest that area, that's when we started to build this new volume area here. And that's what I've been watching now, is can we really sustain this, or are we going to be attracted back down to this? And to me, it looks like we're going to sustain this and possibly even push higher. So what I did most of yesterday was I kind of started right after we broke out above that previous high volume area, and really just focused my attention on this new volume area. You can see this sort of bell curve, really focused my attention here. And you can see how we've just been now gyrating around that point of control. And so yesterday, when I saw price spike down here, I was watching this on a 1 minute chart for reversals, and I caught some really nice trades. If I go back in time here a little bit, in the morning yesterday, caught a really nice trade. I normally don't trade breakouts, but when I saw this come down, and then I saw this sort of building here, and really low volume here, especially if we kind of got rid of some of the previous price action. Like, see how there's like 3 or 4 volume bars that are super low here? So I saw that. I saw this building kind of right here. I normally wouldn't trade a breakout like this, but I saw this sustained area of low volume. And often when you see that, price just cuts through it like a knife through butter. So I basically just entered long here. I just put a limit order and just kind of grabbed it at what I assumed to be kind of a low price for this little base. And took it up to, I think I trailed my stop, and I think I got stopped out around here, which you can see was when it started to form another base. So that was a nice little move. Again, I don't normally trade breakouts, but when you can see that price has the opportunity to cut through a really low volume area, even if we bring in this last leg down, this is just a very low volume area. And so when I saw that building, And I really just, from the bigger picture, I was expecting a reversal because, again, we were building all the volume up here. And this was at the extremes. So you can see now a lot of tradings happen down here because most people think this is not a fair value price. So that's where I want to be a buyer and take it back up towards that point of control. That's what I was targeting. At the time, the point of control was up here. So I was actually targeting up here at about 97. But I trailed my stop, and it worked out because this ended up being a point of control for the day. It's about where we closed off the day. So anyway, back to today. So, here we are. We're starting to go up. Do I want to be a buyer here? No, I don't, because this is where all the volume is. This is what's going to be our magnet. So if anything, I'd be looking for selling opportunities until I really see that we're more definitively going to break out, which to me means we probably got to get above these highs, get above this sort of supply area. These dotted lines I need to adjust because I use these as my overnight high and low markers for myself. And we're still, what time is it? Yeah, we're still technically overnight. So, I'll put it before all this volume came in. We'll do there because that was really I got some reports this morning. This volume's coming in. So, you can try and be involved in some of this stuff in the pre-market. Certainly take this up to, you got a low volume node here. So I would expect some rejection, or at least to stall. And you can see that lines up with the bottom of our supply area. And if we start to break through that, there's a little volume building here, not a ton. So I don't know that that's going to act as much resistance. If we chew through this, then I think kind of sky's the limit. I put this blue line here because that's, if we zoom out and take in the previous all-time high, you can see that volume was building up here. And this blue line is sort of that high volume node. And so I just wanted to be aware of that, even when I'm on my shorter time frames, that I would expect that would be a good target and a good take profit zone for short to intermediate term trades. My longer term positions I'm going to hold because I think the market's still got some gusto in it still. I do also have some spreads on, some option spreads on, just to take advantage of the sideways movement. So let's take a look at the 5 minute, just see what we've been doing. There's been some nice trading opportunities. We got this, this was this morning. We spiked up on probably some news. I think there was some data that came out this morning about durable goods or something like that. And then we get these nice retracements, and you can see the control candles really show these retracements nicely. So this could have been a buy right there on the top of that blue candle. That would have been a beautiful buy and could have given you this move up. This would have been a buy too, but the risk reward isn't great. So I don't know that I would have wanted to get involved with that, although you could try to get involved down here at the bottom of retesting the value area here, but the value area at that point wasn't there. So I don't know that I would have taken this one, but this was a good trade right here. You could have taken that long. Now the other thing here, this is my volatility indicator. It's just something I had coded to help actually with some of the algorithmic trading that I do. And this, the top one represents the 5 minute time frame, which is actually the current chart anyway. And then the bottom one's the 15 minute time frame. And usually what I look for, if I'm going to be taking a trending approach to the day, I want both of these to be this light magenta color. The 15 I want to be light magenta for sure. The 5 I want to be any of these purple colors. And you can see, even if I go down to the 2 minute chart, this is still the 5 minutes. So this is where we can get some good scalping opportunities. This was a great buy, right in here. We've got a low volume node. We're retesting this area of demand. You could have put a limit order here. This would have been a beautiful buy. So there's two styles that you could have traded that with. And then you can see we're building this new, for the day, this new point of control here. Got some volume building up here. Do I want to still be scalping up here? Not particularly. We're super close to this supply. So I'm going to be super cautious about going long into that. And, we might kind of come back down and test this demand that's down here first. We might come all the way back down if this is going to be if we look at just where this volume started to come in, all this big volume is centering around here. We sort of have this this almost looks like a head and shoulders pattern, right? So we want to start to see as volume comes in, especially around the open. I'll probably lay low for the first few minutes of the open and just see where is volume building. And then, this is a 2 minute chart. So on the 2 minute, you could have gotten a nice buy here as well. Just kind of see where we're going. Just kind of see what's happening. And go from there. Again, I'm not gonna really worry too much. I do want to. So this is actually my live account, and you can see some of the I went on the dips of these last few weeks. I went pretty heavily into SSO and QLD. I bought some SPY. This is a spread that I've got 60% in. I put Dow in my account. I bought 20K of Dow. I also put it in my IRA, which is down here. This Riot play I'm super happy with. Got 15% on that. This tech, this is another really nice play. We're up 4% there in the pre-market now. HIB, we're up 20%. Those are just some of the recent positions we've put on at DPM Trades. DPMtrades.com if you want to join the chat room. We do have there's a free chat room for anybody who's just interested in trading, just kind of getting your feet wet or whatever, or just want to see what, kind of what our style is, what we're all about. We do offer a free chat room. And then we do have a paid room too if you want to get alerts on some of these trades. But what I wanted to look at actually, this is my Ninjatrader, and this is where I do a lot of my algorithmic trading. And so these are just some indicators also that I've had made. And this one is sort of what I call swing force. And what I want to see if I'm going to go long, and we can see really like this is a 16 tick Renko chart. So each one of these bars is about 4 points on the S&P, and really we're still just ranging, and that's really represented by the fact that we really need to take out those previous highs. If we go down to a smaller chart, and I've only got a few minutes here before the market opens, but I do just want to see something myself. Go down to a smaller chart here. It'll just take a second to load. And I want to see what kind of swing force we're getting up here. So even here, this is an 8-tick chart, so each one of these is 2. We can see these retracements have been small. This would have been a decent one to grab, but I don't know if I would have caught. We were still just so choppy in here. I probably wouldn't have taken that. Yeah, I mean, there's a decent. You can see this green means this is a bullish leg, and the force is increasing a little bit. What I really was looking to see if there was any retracements showing up on here, what kind of force we had in those retracements, because what I like to see is weak retracements. And what I would expect here as we're getting towards the top of this is that our impulses are probably getting weaker and the retracements may be getting stronger. So we might be getting some forceful pushes down. Yeah, so we can see that. So see how here this green bullish leg had increasing force, and then the bearish leg had decreasing force. That's what we want to see. So we know that this is good to take. And then you can see this had a little bit of decreasing force on this bearish leg, but not so much. And then look how this bullish leg is starting to print with even more decreasing force. And that's kind of expected here when we are, again, pushing up. There's not going to be a lot of oomph going up into this supply area. So really big push off some news. What are we going to do this morning at the open? I think we are either going to retrace some of this and maybe come back to some of these high volume areas, like come back to this this was acting as a point of control. There we go. Just had to get that to adjust. Maybe we're going to come back down here, or we're going to get a surge of bullish volume and we're going to push up through this supply area and really start itching for those previous all-time highs. We'll see how it goes, but right now, I don't know. We've been ranging for several days, so I wouldn't be surprised if we come back down and just continue this sort of range, but only time will tell. It's just often when you get these kind of big pushes in the pre-market, you don't always get a lot of continuation during the open session because this big move already happened and then price needs to digest and consolidate a little bit. So I'm going to end the stream, get ready for the market to open so I can trade, and yeah, we'll just go from there.